Hi, it's us.
Oh, what's your name?
Liz Glazer.
And I'm Jilberto Soto. And together we
We're
are
straight.
Oh, we got it good.
Amazing.
Oh, perfect. Oh, wow.
Okay. So, this is a joke that I'll like literally never say, which is like, so when you have kids, people tell you to like make sure to savor every moment and whatever. So I've decided to just leave the microwave on the whole time. Which like,
Because it's a longer time?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like whenever the microwave is on, I'm like, when is it going to be done?
Oh my, like like what feels longer? A microwave minute?
A microwave minute is a year.
Plank minute or an Uber minute?
Plank minute. Here's why I don't care about the plank minute. Because I don't have shame in an exercise class because there's nothing about me that anyone's like, well, she's the one to beat. So I'm just gonna lay down.
But you say this.
Yeah.
And in exercise class, I do get competitive.
Yeah,
and I would try to beat you. If you're next to me, that's
I would let you beat me. Because I'm not good at overt competition. Like if it's like on your mark, get set, go, I'm asleep.
Yeah.
But if there's not necessarily a race and nobody knows we're competing, I'm plotting victory.
Well, yeah. No, yeah, because you want to win in your mind. But if I'm like running next to somebody and they'll see me look over, but I'll only do that if I'm confident I can beat them.
Right. Oh, yeah. By the way, we have to figure out our time for Barry's because I am serious about
We
that.
haven't done that yet.
No, it's fine. I mean,
Then
it
we
was
should
just
do it
like
this
a
weekend.
week.
Okay, or not.
No. Well, weekend is hard for me.
Okay.
That's just the thing.
I've already told you. You just have to tell me the day.
I know. Well, I was like
today.
trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's where I got.
I just want to see something about the Uber minutes as I'm pulling this up. Is an Uber minute takes forever. It's always, Uber's always like, 4 minutes away, and it's never 4 minutes.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, the laundry, football.
Oh, the laundry. Oh, yeah. Bob and I rock, paper, scissors for laundry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I told you I do love it.
For the microwave, I like the joke, by the way. The microwave minute.
It's as well, it's technically a joke.
It's technically a joke.
Which is like, obviously, we're not going to like talk shit on the pod. However, one thing that Jilberto and I have.
People don't realize that we talk shit.
I know.
People don't realize that, but who doesn't?
For every episode, there's like a ratio of like 2 FaceTimes that are kind of the same, but like names are named and shit is spewed.
It's the best.
It is.
It literally is the best.
So yeah, I would say it's the bedrock of our foundation. But like, okay, so obviously we're not like talking shit here.
No.
Whatever.
No.
But join the Patreon that we don't have and we'll let you in on our FaceTimes.
Oh, that would be fun.
But anyway, but one of the things that you have said, I don't mean to like, I want to give you credit. I don't mean to like throw you under a bus. But is like that we've been assessing for each other, like, things that we like and dislike or like less or whatever. Because I think talking shit is excessive in public. Like you don't need to like name names or whatever. I don't think that's like lying to not do that or whatever. But anyway, I think developing one's taste as an artist is an essential component of discovering one's voice.
Yeah, you have to be critical in what you're seeing,
I think,
because you're always learning, right? So like if you're seeing something and you don't necessarily like are fond to it, you have to understand why, so you know what you are fond to. Right. Look at us trying to explain talking shit in a very nice way.
Yeah, totally. The definition of talking shit. So anyway, but one of the things that I literally, like, it does not matter who, this comes up all the time, is like when we notice, it's kind of a compliment and an insult.
It's definitely. Oh yeah, it is. It's a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, but it's like kind of a both.
Do that. It is.
Yeah, because Jilberto invented what I believe is genius, which is technically it's a joke. Jinx. Because sometimes we will collectively appreciate someone's joke.
Appreciate strong.
But we didn't laugh.
Not at all.
And we're never gonna.
No.
And that is when we look at each other, and we don't even have to say it at this point. It's just like we look, and it's like we know. Technically, it's a joke.
Yeah.
And so
the structure is there.
Right. Like the components, whatever.
Everything like that.
Right.
Something inside of me just didn't.
You're not moved.
I didn't get the fuzzies.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But
it's how straight people feel when they watch my set. Like, and I get it. We're not for everybody.
Right.
We're not for like
totally.
I can imagine somebody being like, oh, he's talking about being gay again. Ugh, okay, got it.
Sure.
Technically it's a joke.
Right.
So
right. Sure. But yeah,
but
so
I'm funny.
yeah. To us.
As you.
To us.
Yeah.
But so I think about my microwave joke.
Yeah.
Technically it's a joke. It's just like maybe I write them down because
you have to get it out.
Yeah.
If it's not, it stays in.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, like, because I can't think of a specific example right now, but like those things find their way somewhere sometimes, right? And like sometimes like it's like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that thing I wrote down 10 years ago would find a place, and
in this
it
set,
happens.
It makes it a little stronger. It could be a flow. 100%.
Right.
I will say this, and I do want to have a technically it's a joke moment for me that I've been struggling with because I like it and other people don't.
Is this a segment?
Is it?
Okay, fine.
Wait, should we do new jokes? Well, I kind of like this. Technically it's a joke segment.
Technically it's a joke. And I guess like we could see in certain situations, obviously, if one of us has an idea about like making it less technically just.
Yes, but then get this. I actually
technically
think
it's a joke.
We bring in a technically it's a joke here every week.
Fine.
But with a challenge.
Okay.
We record it beforehand. Get people's reaction. So when we play it, we can like stitch it.
The no laughter.
And then we can work on it together.
Fine. All right. Well, go ahead. Okay. So what's yours?
Well, okay, so I'll just say it.
Yeah.
So I want to say I went to Europe, or I used to live in Europe because I'm rich, which is nice. You should try it. Whatever. That's a throwaway. Mm-hmm. And I used to live in Italy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to, because it's a whole Trump thing, right? So it's like, you know, Trump's back in, which means I'll have to go back to Europe. I lived there in his first administration. And that's going to be hard. The whole time? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
On purpose?
No, it just happened to be. And I was just like, you know, and now I'm afraid I'm going to go back because I was living in Italy, and it's going to be really hard for me to live in Italy again and get used to having lukewarm drinks. Because, you know, in Italy, they always just give you like room temperature drinks. It's never cold.
Okay.
But then I realized how much I really like the Italians, because Italians, just like Mexicans, don't like ice.
Oh.
Technically, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But there's something missing there. But I like the joke. So I'm not going to give up.
Maybe if you said something about like being deported before.
Yeah, there's I usually talk about the election or something like that beforehand.
But specifically deportation.
Yeah, because it takes people like, I remember I did it this past week, and the crowd went, and then they got it, and then they started clapping.
Okay.
But I was just like, okay, cute. It's too much of a delay for me.
Yeah, it could also be
and
like,
it's not strong. And I told Bob this, and Bob's like, oh.
Right.
I was like, you don't like it? He goes, I don't think it's the best joke.
Sure.
And I go, it's his way of saying technically
it's a joke. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes
I love this segment.
Sometimes it could just be like the speed, you know, like the pause, the breathing. I don't know. I mean, I
just think it's poorly written.
Okay.
I think it's poorly written, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I know that the punchline is ice, but I have to set the premise more that Italians don't like ice.
Right.
And I don't want to say the word ice because you can't say it twice.
Yeah. Steps.
So you kind of have to. With steps?
Like it steps on it.
Oh, yeah. It steps on it. And then I do have to, you know, make sure people understand deportation around this.
Right.
I also have this like joke of like talking about ice, and maybe I could say that. Maybe I say ice or something even further in the set instead of like starting.
Well,
how I'm gonna call ice on really nice white people because I'm gonna think they're Canadian.
Oh, okay, sure.
Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say ice. That's my instinct.
Oh, okay. Oh, just
I don't know.
Deport. Okay.
Well, you could say like immigration or deportation, paper, like any of the other words. I think are okay.
Yeah. Papers. Oh.
Right. Well, and because I was really moved last week. I think it was when you talked about people you knew, like from home, and then you know, because I think that like I don't know. I mean, something. Oh, I'm off this week, by the way.
And you've been having great
All I do is just talk about how I'm off.
Yeah, well,
somebody was like another comedian was like, hey, are you like around this week? Like, because I was, if you had sets, I wanted to like come say hi. I was like, actually, I'm off this week. I'm like, I'm off from my non-job. I fully don't have a job and I'm taking off. Are you taking care of your daughter? No, she's working. My daughter works full time, 8:30 to 5. I, however, do not and need a day off.
You do. I mean, that's life. We always need a day off from living.
Well, okay. So that gets into, I'm just going to go into something I wanted to say.
Oh, please.
Because it actually is like related to this. So I had therapy. I always have therapy just before. If you're like, what is it about Liz that I love? So it's the fact that she just had therapy. Literally.
And I had therapy today.
You did. Yeah. Well, but you said first time in 2 months.
In 2 months, yeah.
Was it good?
It was. I was planning to talk about all these other things, and then I talked about how much like I have to accept my brothers for who they are versus what I want them to be, and I go,
huh? Yeah, that's good.
Went, no.
Okay, so a couple things. I'm just gonna respond because on the topic of not planning what you're gonna say in therapy. Yes. As a side note.
Yes.
So I don't know if you know this, but I had an ex-girlfriend of mine who was a therapist professionally.
Does not surprise me, girl.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like an open mic therapist.
I think you've dated probably every occupation.
Profession?
Yeah.
Never doctor, never nurse.
Sometimes a student.
Yes, one student. It was like.
Could you marry Kayla Turno?
I mean. The student was like my age.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I guess we have to assume.
I taught 4th grade. God forbid, but that I should teach 4th grade. But oh my God. Anyway,
but it's unplanned. The topics.
Right. So my ex and I had been in couples therapy, and at that point, like I am not a therapist, but I have been in therapy a long time, and I fancy myself really good at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Someone's really good at therapy.
I honestly think I am.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah. Because like I feel like I've done it long enough that I know how to allow myself to be persuaded and moved to better action for results I want in my life.
Yeah.
And like that's I don't really know. Cool. I think it's good. Yeah. Like whatever. I've been doing okay. Like that's the thing is like that I can get competitive about, but everybody's like that's not a contest.
Don't you? I sometimes think about this in therapy. I'm like, literally, as I'm having a fight with somebody or something like that, I'm like,
in real life or your mind?
In my mind, but in my mind, or even I could be like, in this moment, I know I'm gonna have to talk about it in therapy, so like I kind of put it in dollars. Oh, being like if I talk about this in therapy for 30 minutes, that's like $60.
Interesting.
Or I can squash this now and not talk about it and it's basically free.
Wow.
I like think about it in my mind from that standpoint.
That's interesting. I don't do that because my thought is even if what I'm talking about in therapy is like buying milk from the bodega, I believe in the process of therapy so hard that I'm like, it's not. It's like it's in the same way that like a fight is never about what it's always a reflection. It's always like about something deeper or whatever. I mean, allegedly.
We don't know.
But I think that's right a lot of the time. And so to that end, like even if I'm talking about buying milk and that's a $7 problem, or whatever it is.
With today's prices.
I know. Well, milk, I try and buy milk at Trader Joe's.
So do I.
Really?
I went to Trader Joe's for eggs and there was no more eggs.
Oh, wow.
Like there's an egg problem.
Right.
And now there's going to be, like everything's just so more expensive. And I don't know. It's fine. But I want to say one more thing about technically it's a joke real quick. Because I think it's important for people to know this.
Please.
At least the way I talk about it.
Yeah.
That when there's technically it's a joke and it's a joke that what I'm learning from that moment for me specifically is that comedy has to move people. Not saying that it needs to be profound.
Yeah.
It can be. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But it just needs to resonate with people. It could be the silliest fucking joke ever.
Sure.
But if it doesn't really resonate with you, if it doesn't like kind of, if there's no like way you can really relate to it, then it's kind of pointless for me, which is why, again, comedy's so subjective to everybody.
Yeah. I think the value of technically it's a joke is, well, it's fun for us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's valuable. But also that sometimes I don't know, like I think, you know, finding like a platonic ideal of what comedy is or isn't, which like side note, great book, Jesse David Fox's comedy book is really great. And I think that like there's room for so many, you know, different definitions and whatever it is. And obviously like what one finds funny is subjective. All of that said, I think technically it's a joke is valuable because maybe a technically it's a joke isn't some kind of centerpiece, but it could present an interesting analogy. You know, like I do think that there's like, I don't know that I am the person to comment on time and how time moves slower with a microwave versus with my daughter or whatever it is. But having the insight was a valuable insight.
Yeah.
It came out in this way that's like maybe not done, but like, you know, could be. But it's like maybe again, I mean, this is sort of repeating what we said before, but like putting it in another context where it is part of something that is moving. Because to go back to some of our other conversations that I don't think we've had on the pod, is when I shared with you that nugget from the self-help book about speaking, which we refer to a lot during our offline conversations. Yes. So I read this self-help book. I think it's The Magic of Thinking Big. It's from the 50s. It's hilarious because of like, 50s. It's like, it's funny because there are all these like,
are always really fun.
It is because it's like when the milkman comes by. All of my examples today are about milk. Like what is wrong with me? Okay. So anyway, this episode is dairy.
I was going to say craving dairy much.
Apparently. I don't even have milk in my coffee. I like my coffee black.
I want cheese.
Yeah. Eloise always wants cheese.
String cheese. String cheese is not only great, it's fun.
Yes.
Wait, going back to the speaking.
It's kind of like fruit by the foot.
Or like my God, I missed fruit by the foot.
Yeah.
That was such a fun,
Did you put the whole thing in your mouth?
No. I would love I only, you know, you take it all out, and then you rip a little piece, and you put it in, and then you put a little piece in, and then you eat all the rest at once, and you put it in, and it's so good.
But did you also do bubble tape?
What is bubble tape?
It's 6 feet of bubble gum.
Yes, that you like open up and you rip and you put in.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
It was fruit by the foot, but gum.
No, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh.
So,
now I'm reminiscing.
But from The Magic of Thinking Big. It was this thing, it was like a chapter on public speaking, and they're like, everybody, you know, freaks out about public speaking, and they're like, ugh, I'm gonna, you know, fumfer and stutter and whatever. Maybe I'm not gonna memorize what I have. Like, and the guy, I don't remember his name, was like, that all doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The only things that matter for public speaking are two.
Oh.
Number one, know what you want to say. Number two, have a burning desire to say it.
Have a burning desire to say it.
And we come back to that a lot when we talk about like,
when we have good sets, we dissect.
Right. And bad sets.
And bad
sets.
Yes.
Like why wasn't it on tonight or whatever? And like, you know, I feel like most of the time, at least, I mean, obviously we're the ones judging us, but like we come back to those things mattering.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Right. And like the same thing told two different ways could be totally different. So that's, I think, where technically it's a jokes can come in, because it's like, yeah, I'm saying this thing that I really want to say.
Yeah.
If there's an insight about the nature of time and its measurement in a microwave and how that feels that relates on the way to something bigger, beautiful.
100%.
Because I had that insight. It was a real moment, and it like I felt it. I can like picture it, you know, and that's going to be helpful for me saying the actual point, right? But like having a point to what one says.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle with it sometimes because, like, I think what happens, like, at least for me in stand-up is, like, as you get better, you also get worse.
Yeah, I see that.
Which is to say that it's like, okay, I've worked out, like, how this punchline might land, but, like, what am I saying?
And I think that's the second part is it needs to feel... So So I'm reading / listening. Not reading,
I
just
only
listening.
listen.
Yeah,
I'm illiterate.
Yeah, we talk.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic.
Right.
Welcome to the illiterate dyslexic podcast.
Yeah, get your mom's Audible subscription. That's what I use. Okay.
Spotify. But
right.
I'm listening
My
to Leslie Jones right now.
Ooh, okay.
I was listening to Molly Shannon's before.
Okay, but it's Black History Month, so Leslie Jones.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, now this episode needs to come out in February because, we have a backlog. And she's hilarious, and I'm only like,
is she still hosting Supermarket Sweep? Because I love Supermarket Sweep.
Was.
Yeah, it came back briefly. Did you watch the original?
I love the original.
Me too.
All those original game shows. Sorry, like Supermarket Sweep. What is it? Where it's like, and she went on the blank. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's a guy.
$25,000 Pyramid?
No, not even though I really love that show too. Oh, those are such good shows. No.
Okay.
Where you had to fill in the blank.
I don't remember.
And it's like, it was like kind of Celebrity Squares.
Oh.
Kind of, but it was just like, she went to the store and she told this guy blank.
Okay.
And so the two people had to fill out what they thought it was, and then there was like a guest panel of people that was like they would guess what it is.
Oh,
and
interesting.
If it got it right. Anyways.
So it's like guess who?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Anyways. That's not what I want to talk about. Sorry.
Well, no, I know Leslie Jones.
Yeah, so she was mentioning about her joke. She was like, the jokes that got to where she needs to be were the jokes that she was too afraid to actually do. She was like, I wrote this. She explained this joke that I think got her noticed, maybe through Chris Rock or something like that.
Okay.
She was like, and I wrote that joke 10 years ago. She's like, but I didn't think I was good enough to say it.
What was the joke?
It was about, what was it? I'm going to mess it up. It was about how she would be a great slave because of her build, and she would have great babies. She would have babies like Kobe, other people and she was like popping them out, and then she mentioned like a name, a famous name. She's like, no, that one goes back in. He's not fully baked yet.
Oh, funny.
Or something.
Okay.
And she was like, but I always thought like, maybe Whoopi could say this joke one day. Yo, this is a good Whoopi joke. She's like, I didn't believe my own jokes.
Wow.
But what it meant was the things that she really wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
She said, I was being funny to get paid.
Yeah.
Right? Because you need to get paid.
Yeah.
It was technically, these were jokes.
Yeah.
It worked for crowd, but it wasn't the stuff that I wanted to actually care about or say. Not saying her past jokes weren't good, but this is shit she cared about. And I have jokes now that I've wrote that I'm too afraid to say because they don't follow my current pattern of joke. I have a kind of a somewhat of a, not distinctive pattern, but I have a routine.
You have your way.
I have my way. And these kind of break away from my way. It's kind of like, when you post things on TikTok and the videos work, and then you do something different and it tanks.
Okay.
Because TikTok likes very similar things.
Oh,
And so it really inspired me being like, the only way we're going to get, at least for me, better is to do what I feel I need to do, even if it's different.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay.
That was a lot.
No, it's amazing. I'm just trying to think because then sometimes when I hear something like that makes total sense. But I'm like, what even is that for me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I guess it's like Mike Birbiglia. I listen to his podcast a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it was an episode of his with Pete Holmes where they're like, we only like secrets. Like the only thing that's fun is secrets.
Okay.
And if someone's not telling secrets on stage, I'm not listening.
Oh, yeah. Like you found something new or different.
Right. And I struggle with that sometimes only because I some of the secrets I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Literally. Do
you want to say that?
Yeah, but sometimes it's about someone else. And then I'm like, well, I don't think I should say that. Because my whole upbringing was secrets. I was born into lies. So I was told very early in stand-up, I took a class at Gotham with Jim Mendrinos, who is an amazing teacher. He's a great comic and a good friend he's become. And I really got a lot out of his class. And one of the things, and so at that point, I was really just couldn't get on stage unless I was just talking.
Okay.
And it's not that different from now. It's just like I've been doing it longer now. So like sometimes it's better. Like I would bomb so much when I first started because like I really committed to like, no, I'm just going to say whatever. Yeah. And sometimes it was like literally whatever. And everyone's like, okay,
what's the point?
But like, it's not like other people don't.
I think it's, I don't know.
That's not a joke. None of that was technical. None of it was a joke. But he said to me when I got off stage once, he's like, you know, what's weird about you is like you almost don't need material and you're best when you're oversharing. And I think like as I've gone on in stand-up, I come back to that a lot because it's not like he was saying you actually don't need any material. He's like, it's almost like you don't need material, which isn't the same as you don't need material. You do need material, but keep that kind of looseness thing, like keep it, that's whatever. Your signature. Yeah, it's like it's working for you, and it also works when you overshare. And so, okay, so this gets me because I have two things I want to say now. One is related to planning and not planning in therapy, which was responsive to you.
Oh, yes.
So
we love a full circle moment.
Try
it's great. I love it.
So I didn't even take Magic Mind, but
wow, I could not feel it.
Maybe it's still working from yesterday. So, but when I dated and was engaged and then disengaged from a woman
now that is a secret,
was in a therapist. We would go to couples therapy, which was also where I broke off our engagement, which I thought was like the good place to do it.
Oh my gosh.
That was not what she thought. But anyway, so we were going to therapy and every day that we went to therapy, she was like, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
in the moment,
because I had been in therapy for that, like however many years by that point, same therapist as now. And I never had a plan because I felt like sitting in the moment with my therapist and like finding like what's going on now, and like then allowing that stuff to help with the percolation of what's underneath was like valuable. And we got there, I felt. And so we would argue, and she was like, well, I'm a therapist and I disagree with you. And I think we should have planned topics. Okay. And the only time that I had a planned topic was when I was like, we're not getting married. Which I guess actually now that I'm saying, I never.
Your advice.
I never said that as a joke, but that's we got there.
Oh, the oversharing.
Right.
It's kind of like when my brother tells me, he's like, you know, and it's true. I say it on stage, but it's true because he's like, Beto, remember when you're trying to be funny, you're not funny.
Nobody is.
But when you're not trying to be funny, that's when you're the most funny. And I'm like, what? But it's so true. When you're like,
true.
At our base, we're funny.
Yeah, totally.
So like, no matter what, it may take us a different way to get there. And this is why it's like technically it's a joke. Going back to that.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you see people work on a joke and you're like, yes, I get it, what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And like you tightened it up so much that when you're not trying to be funny is lost.
Yeah.
And so now I'm kind of like, okay, I get where you're going. Like I already see the trick. Like it's no longer
right. And I mean,
to me.
You know, it's not, I think like many years for me in acting class have demonstrated the ability to like work on becoming natural, because I really think that is possible. And I've seen it work on myself, like where, you know, I've been taking acting for a long time at this point. And when I first started, I was very natural, but I was very bad, because when you are it's like we all act in our daily lives. And then you turn a camera on or you're on stage or whatever, and that like goes away.
Yeah.
And so then the question is, well, how do I get to my offstage self on stage? Yeah.
No, I was going to say, because the acting thing. Oh, I need to go back to acting class, actually.
Sure.
I haven't been in over, oh my God, it's going to be a year now. Wow, more than a year. Anyways, well, I only took it for a year. Well, like 6 months.
Sure.
But the first time I went on stage, one of the first times I went on stage or in the acting class, all I had to do was just be like somebody on. I didn't have any lines. They just needed me to be there for the scene.
Sure.
And I actually played it really well because I was like, oh, there's one singular thing I have to do. Let me just go into that, and I kind of lost myself, which was good.
Right.
Again, no words.
Yeah.
That gave me. I literally came home that day being like, yeah, it's really not that hard. Like what you guys don't understand is like you just have to concentrate on one thing. Like whatever. And I had a scene where the guy was a little like challenged, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to really go into it. And I really pretended I was challenged. Like hand in the head.
Okay.
Like walking.
Yeah.
And my acting teacher was like, you don't have to do all that.
Sure.
Gilberto, like, he's like, that was like a lot.
Right.
And I go, oh, okay. And then I felt really deeply ashamed. And so I was like, then after that, not ashamed of it, but ashamed. So then I was in my head all of the time going forward. And I kind of lost that natural ability of like acting.
Right.
And then lastly, I'll say like we did a scene for, what's that guy's name? Alec Baldwin. He came to our class and taught it one day.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'm going to impress him. And I did not impress him. He goes to me, he goes, yeah, he goes, that was a lot. That was a lot. And I go,
That's amazing. And like whatever situation you're able to like bring to stage that Alec, like your celebrity interaction is that Alec Baldwin once told you that was a lot is amazing. Yeah. And I do think like is something that's not for me. Technically it's a joke. That's a joke. But like,
it feels
where
like
does it
secret. Go? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where I struggle. Oh, I can't believe today was we're supposed to talk about love next week. We were talking about
Happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's
Get to work.
Day. Yeah. But
I'm off.
The whole week.
She's off. Yeah.
She's been off.
Yeah.
But it feels like a secret. Right? Like, oh, that's an interaction that happened with me.
Yeah.
It feels like I've not really told a lot of people.
Sure.
I feel ashamed about it actually, which is why it hasn't been on stage.
Interesting.
But it could be. But then where I struggle with is if somebody gave me this feedback on my set, was like, where do you go from here? Like I did, I tipped that 30.
Yeah.
And the photographer guy, PBS, shout out to him, was like, yeah, it was good. He's like, good. He's like, but I just didn't think some of your jokes just weren't super baked yet. He's like, there's so many different ways you can go to it, and you kind of just jumped off to the next topic. So I struggle with like, oh, where do you go from here? Well, like, how do I look at it from all these different perspectives?
I mean, I think you answered your own question, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like you allow it to like be there and look at it from all the different angles. Like Mike Birbiglia, to mention him again, I just listen to his podcast a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm defending it. Like I like him. Listen, but
she can like men.
Yeah, that's what it's about. But he talks about I think it's that he calls it a false bottom. Which is when there's still more to the joke.
Yes.
Like there are still like angles unexplored. There's still like meat on the bone, if that's a metaphor that works for somebody, where it's like you think that you're done, but the audience actually can feel that you're not. And so that's why it's a false bottom.
I think I have a lot of false bottoms.
Yeah, I bet.
And tops.
No, right.
But yeah, it's true. I
mean, I'm not saying you do or you don't. Honestly, I would have to like really think about it more.
Yeah.
But just responding to your story about what that guy said.
No, and I find it true. So going back to like,
same for me, by the way.
Well,
I think
of different angles.
Yeah, totally. Like I think everybody has them with respect to at least certain topics that they might bring to stage. I think it's probably rare to not have them, which I just say like because I don't think you're like alone.
I think there's some people that also are like they feel like they have false bottoms and they go into the joke and you're like, oh, you could have cut that
right
I'm very much short-esque type things.
Yeah.
And I want to go more into this like,
yeah,
I want no meat off the bone.
Right.
Because it is and I think there's a difference because if you have a unique perspective to something, there's so many different angles you could really take on it that haven't been heard before, or it's unique to you, so therefore it's unique.
Right.
Versus somebody going in and being like, oh, I want to write this joke about something. Oh, let me write it this way. And then, let me write, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think like, one of the other reasons, and that I like Mike Birbiglia, apparently that's like my essay that I'm writing in this episode, is that he's, in my opinion, so good at like looking at a bit from all angles. And so like something that comes to mind is like, I think it's the beginning of the new one where he talks about the word bedroom and how like the bed is the most arrogant piece of furniture because it's like, and the room shall be named for me, or I don't think that's a direct quote, but like whatever. But it's like, that was a relevant piece to a story that he was telling. And I think the reason I bring it up is like, he's telling a really personal story. That's like obviously what he does. But then the bits are like these fully, you know, full circle, all angles on that bit, which the bit is, isn't it weird how like a couch could kind of go anywhere, but a bed is like a place that is like only dedicated to the bed, right?
Yeah.
And that's like kind of this general inquiry, anybody could say it type of thing. And then it's a question of like, okay, well, as I'm analyzing that, like in the joke writing process, I'm thinking about other rooms in a house. I'm thinking about other pieces of furniture. Yeah. I'm thinking about like it goes on the floor. Is there something about the floor versus the walls versus the ceiling? Like, and as, I mean, it's kind of beautiful to like think about it as a piece of furniture because then you can
podcast link.
Oh, well, this is from a special, but yeah. But like, I just mean like that as like when you're writing, and I didn't write this bit, obviously, but like when one is writing the part of the story related to an insight about bed, or if we go back to my example of a joke I don't even know I believe in, which is like microwave time lasts longer than time when your kid is a baby.
Yeah.
Is that a useful insight? Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really cute.
Sure.
Because you want time to go even longer.
But I guess if I were thinking about it, it's like, okay, well, does the microwave make other things last longer? Yeah. What are other forms of cooking? What are other forms of telling time? Is there anything personal to me about telling time? Which even as I'm asking the question, I'm like, absolutely yes, because specifically for me, I missed the day in first grade where we learned how to do analog time telling. And I stand by the fact that that is why I am learning disabled about analog time. Okay? A dying skill to be sure. But for me, it was dead in 1986.
You've been like wanting digital age to come in. I've been bad at it for
a really long time.
Yeah, I get that. It's like, I think like for me, and the reason why I don't do all that, and I hate saying, comedy should be fun. Like at the end of the day, we are just literally telling jokes like it's supposed to be fun. But I think it takes a lot of introspection to like understand why you're saying certain things, even if it is just being like, I sucked a dick or or whatever, right? You can beep that part out. Don't you like how we're editing the podcast as we're saying it?
Well,
it's kind of my favorite thing. we should do that. Have you ever seen the show from what is it with The Comeback?
Yes, I've seen not all of it.
Oh, really? It's the best show ever. But during the show, she'd be like, we can edit that out, right?
It's amazing.
That was my acting, by the way. I actually speak quickly on stage, very quickly, too quickly. I will say too quickly. The speed is really quick. And the reason why I'm like short jokes, next joke, short jokes, next joke is because, and I was saying this the other day to somebody about being like, because I'm Mexican. He's like, what? That's so weird. But because and the way that I was brought up was Mexicans are only here to work. They're here to always provide some type of value to the community. They're also not valuable. Being just a person, a Mexican doing nothing is not good. You need to be working. You need to be doing a job nobody wants. It's all this. It's boom, 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 boom,
You should say this on stage. Yeah.
And so like, you're like, okay, so on stage, I'm like frantic. Okay, you didn't like this joke. Okay, how about this next joke? Okay, how about this? And if I speak super quick like I'm doing now, then maybe like I'm always going to give you something.
Right.
And I can't chill because I was just never, and this is all self-learned or whatever, maybe, I don't know, societal, whatever.
Right.
Is like just believing in your own self and what you're going to say is really hard for me. Yeah. And so talking about next evolution, what I want to do, it's all these things of like, change based off of where it's served me obviously in the past because that's how I lived my life. That's why I'm able to do this podcast today. But will it serve me going forward? Right. Is that really what I want to be? And I'm having like this now as I'm saying it, crisis, because it is true.
I mean, I really think that I can understand that it would feel like a crisis. Yeah. And I do think that especially now that we're in this time where talking about, you know, Mexico is like incredibly relevant, talking about deportation and risks of that, and like what are the role of immigrants in society is like so topical.
Yeah.
But it's also so personal to you, which is such a beautiful marriage of factors. Mm-hmm. Like in the sense that it's like that's really personal to you. It's what you know, it's what you lived and live, and it's going on globally. And so I think that that's like amazing to talk about.
Yeah. I should talk about tariffs in my relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Bob gives me a gift, I charge him a tariff or something.
Right. Well, yeah, but I really think that like the kind of the process of like thinking about what something means to you allows a joke to be less technically it's a joke, more something you have a burning desire to say.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it's like, okay, I want them to laugh, like, duh, because like that's the job. But the reason that I'm even talking about this isn't so that they'll laugh.
Yeah.
It's because I want to say this, and I've you know, created the moments of laughter to punctuate this and whatever.
I agree with you, because the way I go on stage is like, my first thought is, I need to make him laugh within the first 10 seconds.
Okay.
Right? For me.
Sure. But yeah, same.
Bites me in the freaking foot sometimes. Not saying like I try to intentionally not to.
Yeah.
Because now it's a pattern. Now it's like, this is exactly how it's going to go. Which is fine. Comedy, you should always be somewhat having entertained.
Yeah.
But this is not allowing me space to do it other way. So I have to basically go into different rooms or places that's like, okay, that pressure's off. The sweatpants show.
Sweatpants shows. Yeah, for sure. But also, I just want to challenge you a little bit on that, which is, yes, establishing that kind of rate of laughter could arguably bite somebody in the foot.
Yeah.
That said, I do think that there's value in like switching up the tempo in the same way that like if you're dancing to a song, it's not like you're like, oh, it's really fast, it can never slow down.
Yeah.
You need the chorus versus the melody versus the harmony. Like all of those are parts of it.
And I should tell you, I have no rhythm.
Ha, really?
No.
Huh.
I know. I'm
wow.
defected.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I've been told. Like, I can't really like, no. I mean, like, my hips go this way and my upper body goes this way. My feet go this way, and it's not like...
Interesting. I'm a really good dancer.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, not... Okay.
No, sorry. I just realized Bob and I need to practice our first dance. Oh, sorry.
Oh. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, totally. There's no reason to be sorry.
I was like, we need lessons.
But that's interesting because like a planned dance, I'm terrible at. Like whenever I'll go to a dance class because like one night at 3 a.m, I'll buy a 10-pack and then it's like about to expire. So then I'm like a dancer for a week. But I am bad at like organized moves. Because I know this from like growing up. Like I was a girl growing up. So I was like, you know, dancing in basements and stuff like that. Yeah. And I remember I would have friends who were like good dancers. Like technically it's a dance, right?
Yeah.
And not that they weren't good at regular dance, but like I was good. Yeah. I have rhythm. I have a lot of
moment. Like
I really do. Well, Karen, I make a lot of fun of Karen dancing. We're gonna dance a lot at your wedding.
But by the way, if you have any songs you want at the wedding, you need to tell me.
Oh my
so I could add it to my playlist.
You know, I've been listening to Muna. Do you know Muna?
No.
She's a band or something. Okay. They're very hot.
Okay, well, send me.
Okay.
I'll definitely put it on.
Yeah. So, okay, wait. But I need to tell you what was said in therapy. And wait, I know I have it. We're not editing this out.
No.
Hold on. What is it?
This is real.
Wait a minute. I
just need to think about it.
It was so something. It was like the thing. Oh. So I'm off this week. What did you do on your week off? Well, but mostly announced it. I spent a lot of time telling everybody I was off.
So you're off this week.
So I'm off this week from nothing.
Yeah.
And I was telling that to my therapist when I got in. And then I was saying how like there's a part of me that like it's been tough to remain off, you know, and some of that is like somebody being like, hey, do you want to do this show? And I'm like, no. And I do want to do it. And it's like, there's such a thing in comedy where it's like,
to get your boundaries.
Yeah. And like, there are certain places that if they ask me to do a show, I will be not off,
of course,
whatever. Of course. But like, you know, some of these things that were coming were, it's like good, but I'm like,
you need to be off.
I said I was off. I need to respect myself enough to like take the time. Anyway, so I say that. Then I was telling my therapist this, like, I guess story, we could call it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was like, it's not like winning the moth, but it was a story where, where I took a nap on Friday because I wasn't feeling well because we had Eloise's Shabbat at school, which is basically like an excuse for her to cry more. Like it's just like school creates opportunities for her to bawl her eyes out, okay. God forbid, because we're leaving again.
Yes.
Right? Okay. It's nuts. But anyway, so we're at Shabbat and I just didn't feel well. As you can tell, I might have a little congestion. You literally have to see the phlegm on the side of my car.
Phlegm.
Okay. Phlegm. It was amazing. And I was like, I could wipe this off, but like, honestly, I'm too proud of it.
Ooh.
Okay. Do you want me to text you a pic so that we can put it?
Never.
Honestly? Okay. Well, there are people on the internet who would like it, and I am one of them. So I'm just going to take a picture just in case when I get back to my car.
I can't.
And maybe when I edit our clips, I'll put it there, and you don't even have to look at it. Okay? Because it's probably not even going to look the same. I almost want to like have someone who's like near the parking spot where it is.
I'm not even trying to.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Like I was like, I think that's a vein in there. Like it's amazing.
Anyway,
okay.
so you were
So I wasn't feeling well.
Yes.
So I took a nap. And obviously I was scrolling before the nap.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets me on Instagram to stop scrolling, because I have terrible, in my opinion, OCD. OCD. Okay. Yeah. OCD specifically for like chain letters. Like when I had chain letters growing up, I just remember I would get them in the mail and I'm like, Mommy, we're going to need some stamps. Like it was so just crazy making for me. And now they have them on Reels.
Yes.
And it's like some AI man voice that's terrifying. And it's like, January 31st will either be the best day of your life or the worst, unless you like, and okay. So at first I was sharing those because you have to with my brother, but then he was like, hey, can you stop sharing these? Because I don't share them. So it actually sounds like it feels like you're sending me bad luck. And I was like, fair. And so now I just send them to myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, well then I technically shared, right?
Of course,
but I'm not bothering anyone. Okay. So there was one of those. It was like by 3 p.m., your life is going to be amazing. And I was like, fine. And they happen to me all day. And I'm like, I have to stop scrolling. So then I stop scrolling. I take a nap. I get up from the nap around 3 and like 5 different things happened literally during the nap.
Good things.
Yeah. Good things, good career things, whatever. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, that's so great. And I was telling my therapist this, and my point of it was like maybe the chain letter thing worked. Mm-hmm. Okay.
These are people going to cults.
Yeah. Which like I have been in.
Yeah.
I'm just good at getting myself out of them. Like before the documentary. So that was like kind of where I was going with it in therapy. Cause like in therapy, like you don't need like a story with like all of the 5-star, like anything in a story class. Like it's not, you don't need that. You're just like,
I should take
hi. Like it's like you just phlegm out, whatever.
Again,
right?
flan.
So I said that to her and she responded. She's like, oh, that's so interesting that was like what you took from it. Because what I took from it is sounds like it's good that you took a nap. and like maybe you can trust when you take time off. And so it was such.
She earned her copay that week.
It was amazing. No, I pay full price.
Oh.
I mean, it's sliding scale.
For sure.
But yeah, no, it's not covered. So anyway, I'm just glad I'm off.
Yeah, I'm glad you're off too. And I'm glad that we came in here with a planned topic. We did not discuss it at all.
Well, I do love you.
No, I love you.
I forgot the plan.
And I actually thought this was way better. I love this so much.
Me too. I love you.
I love you. I love you.
I love you.
Bye.
Thank you.
This is a journey.
It is.
This is a big journey. But thank you for watching.
And listening to
Together We're Straight. Don't forget to subscribe and share and like with everybody. Comment.
Leave a 5-star review.
Please.
Send a gift certificate.
We should drop our Venmos.
Oh my God. Yeah, sure. At Liz-Glazer.
And at Gilberto S.
Okay. I'll take money. You want to send me money? You think I'm going to say no? No. Thank you.
Thank you
for the money.